Everybody knows about O.J. Simpson. When I found out about him, I was like disgusted. So O.J. Simpson has so many records of what he did in the past, and now it's going to haunt him because of what happened. O.J. Simpson, now 70, granted parole from prison nearly 9 years after conviction in Vegas robbery, which isn't a good sign. O.J. Simpson, the football Hall of Famer and former NFL star, Hollywood actor, and double murder suspect, was granted parole on Thursday, nearly 9 years after he was sentenced for his role in an armed robbery at a Las Vegas hotel. In ruling unanimously for his early release, for the parole board commissioners present referenced both the support that Simpson has from his family and his disciplinary free record while behind bars, when he also took anti-violence classes. Though he will be paroled, Simpson 2070 will be subject to supervision by the state. He faces several possible restrictions on his behavior, including on drinking alcohol, owning weapons, and with whom he can associate. When he learned he would be free, he said, thank you, and exhaled deeply before he was seen raising his hands over his head as he walked back to his cell. He said, oh God, oh. His parole will expire when his prison term was set to September 29, 2022. He said he would like to live in Florida after prison, and he is now set to be released as early as October, a month that has become a crossroads on his life. He was found guilty on October 3rd, 2008, of various felony charges, including kidnapping and robbery in connection with the Vegas altercation. That conviction came 13 years to the day after he was found not guilty of murdering. He was found not guilty. Oh, I did not know he was not guilty of murdering his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman in Los Angeles in 1994. An acquittal that itself came after a 8-month trial which consumed the country. Dressed in blue short sleeves and jeans, Simpson spoke at length in his defense at the hearing on Thursday, which began at 10 a.m. local time in an unusual move reflecting his notoriety. The hearing was live-streamed online and broadcast on ESPN. Simpson appeared fit, relaxed, and vulnerable, regularly cracking jokes to laughter from other attendees. At times he showed flashes of the force of personality that helped him make him famous and then infamous. When the board chairman mistakenly referred to him as 90 years old, he responded, I feel like it though he was adamant again in his explanation of the robbery that landed him in prison, reiterating that he is not armed and was only seeking to reclaim his own property. Simpson also stressed that he wasn't excusing himself. I've spent 9 years making no excuses about anything, he told the parole board in his closing remarks. I am sorry that things turned out the way that they did. I had no intent to commit a crime. One of the commissioners, Tony Corda, noted during questioning that Simpson's explanation differs little from the official record. I'm sorry it happened. I'm sorry, Nevada, Simpson said. I thought I was glad to get my stuff back, but it wasn't worth it. I've done my time, he said. I've done it as well as respectably as anybody can. I've not complained for 9 years, and I've done is tried to be helpful and encourage other prisoners to do their time and fight in court, not behind bars, he said. Simpson was accompanied by his attorney, Malcolm Laverne, his sister Shirley Baker, daughter Arnell Simpson, and friend Tom Scordo were also in attendance. Baker wept and hugged her niece as Simpson heard he would get parole. No one really knows how much we have been through. This ordeal in the last 9 years, Simpson's daughter said, reading from a statement before pausing to gather her stuff. My experience with him is that he's like my best friend and my rock. She continued, and as a family, we recognize that he is not the perfect man, but he's clearly a man and a father. He has done his best to behave in ways that speaks to his overall nature and character, which is always to be positive no matter what. Speaking to people before a decision had been made about Simpson's parole, Nicole Brown Simpson's sister Tanya Brown said she had learned to accept things that I cannot change or have control of. The issue is one of those instances. She said, whatever the verdict of the parole hearing will be, under Nevada state law, released or not, the law was granted. After learning he would be freed, she said, I will continue to still live my life as I have been doing for 23 years. Ron Goldman's family has respectfully expressed their misgivings about Simpson's release, saying in a statement earlier this week that they felt frustration and anticipation over how this will change their lives forever. Again, among other information that the parole board considered is Simpson's pre-sentence investigation following his conviction and a report from the state's Department of Corrections about his time in prison. Simpson has previously appeared before the state's parole board after being convicted in 2008. He was granted parole on some of his charges in 2013, and some observers had said he was well positioned to be granted parole on the remaining courts heading into this week's hearing, where he was questioned by 4 of the board's 7 commissioners. Simpson's parole hearing was discretionary, not mandatory, but included a review of multiple factors which appeared to favor him, including his age at the time of his first arrest, his employment history before being taken into custody, and his behavior while incarcerated. Bruce Frommon, one of those memorable dealers who were robbed by Simpson, attended Thursday's hearing, where he said that Simpson had never threatened him with a gun and that Simpson remained his friend. On that day of the robbery, I felt like that Mr. Simpson was misguided. Foreman said the other victim, Alfred Beardsley, died in 2015. The case so far. How long is this article? We're almost done. Simpson was arrested on September 16, 2007, only 3 days after authorities said he and 5 other men went to Las Vegas hotel to rob 2 sports memorabilia dealers. The victims, Beardsley and Fromson, were led to believe the prospective buyer was coming to their casino hotel room to browse their goods, many of them connected with the legendary Heisman Trophy winner. Instead, authorities said Simpson and his associates, 2 of whom were armed, rushed into the hot room, stuffed the memorabilia into pillowcases, and fled through. Though, as Simpson said at his parole hearing, some of the memorabilia at a hotel was fact his. 4 of the men who accompanied Simpson in the robbery accepted plea deals and testified against him at trial. The 5th man was convicted alongside Simpson, but an appellated court later granted him a new trial and was released after agreeing to a plea deal. Simpson's defense argued that he was not armed at the time and did not know 2 of the other men brought weapons, though one of them testified that he did so at Simpson's behest. A jury convicted him on 12 counts. We don't want people going into rooms to that property, David Roger, then the lead prosecutor said at the time, that is robbery. You don't go in, get a gun, and demand property from people. Simpson mounted an unsuccessful career after his convicted and then largely retreated from view during his incarceration, not appearing in public again until May 2013. I never meant to hurt anybody, he said. His sentence in December 2008, but Poseidon Judge Jackie Glass was not moved. Earlier in the case, she said, I said to Mr. Simpson, I didn't know if he was arrogant or ignorant or both. I got this answer, and it was both. So, the suckish part is that he is out of prison, and it sucks. Everybody hates him. I hate him. Alright, thanks, guys.